How's it going, everybody? So back here on chess.com today, trying to get set up with a 30-minute rapid game. So we'll see sort of what we get here. Um, yeah, so it's been a bit since I recorded one of these. So my rating, uh, nice news. My rating has sort of went up since the last time I recorded one. But yeah, we'll see how we do today. So I'm playing. Looks like Sir King, rated 1641. My current rating is 1759, and we'll see what we get. So I'm going with the Vienna. I recently started to make a video series on this opening, and we'll sort of see how it goes. It's an opening I've been playing around with recently. Yeah, it's interesting. It's really interesting. We'll sort of see what kind of game we get here. Has a tendency to kind of throw people off because they haven't seen it. I hope my opponent didn't just disconnect after seeing this. Okay, weirdly. Okay, yeah, I played knight c3 and they just disconnected. But yeah, they're back. So okay, I've never seen this move. This is not a move I'm aware of at all. So usually they play knight f6 or knight c6. What to do here? This looks so weird. This is sort of what you get when you play openings that people are not used to seeing. I mean, it looks like just continuing in the normal fashion with like f4 might be a possibility, although they are lining up against h4 in that case. So yeah, this bishop here, if I was to play f4, I'm opening this diagonal. That's not necessarily a good idea. So yeah, it looks like just bringing the knight out and sort of attacking this guy is a good idea. So we're kind of thrown out of any kind of opening prep I have here because this move bishop e7. I'm pretty sure if we check this out in like a database, this is incredibly uncommon. But yeah, we'll see. Okay, since they've disconnected again, this person seems to be having connection issues. Hopefully they'll be able to sort that out. Okay, so they go d6, probably trying to play bishop g4. Should I play h3 to stop bishop g4? Do I not care? I probably don't care about bishop g4. I haven't castled yet or anything. I probably will play bishop c4, and if they play bishop g4, I'll probably just run them back like this. Yeah, bishop c4 looks very normal. I don't see anything particularly wrong with it. Just in the interest of time management, I'm going to go ahead and play it. Something I've talked about in previous videos. I'm really just trying to focus on my time management. I have a tendency to be a kind of perfectionist, and just not the best thing, especially even in a rapid game. You know, it's not like a blitz game where you got to be making moves like every 10 seconds or less. But I mean, you shouldn't be taking more than like 30 seconds on average, 30 to 40 seconds on average per move, and that's pretty fast. If you play on average, probably games are like 30 to 40 moves. Okay, so this is what I thought they were going to go with. First of all, I don't think I have any weird tactics here with like a check afterwards because they have multiple pieces on g5. So yeah, my first instinct is to just gain a bunch of time with like h3 and so forth. Yeah, that seems normal. Other ideas, I mean, d3 is an idea, but I don't know that I need to do that at this point. d3 is an idea such that if they play here, I can take. And if they go here, I'm already... Yeah, but they're not going to probably take the knight, not being pushed. So probably we'll go h3. Oh no! That was a mouse slip. Oh no. Oh no, this is weird. Okay, that was a total mouse slip. Ah! Alright, we'll have to sort of see if we can gather. It was supposed to be h3. Oh yeah. Okay, so they have bishop takes f3, queen takes f3, and then taking on h5. Oh no, I'm threatening mate on f7, so. God, that's really annoying. Mouse slips are like the worst. Okay, so this looks to be an error, isn't it? So if we go rook takes, they go queen takes. We go knight takes, they go bishop takes. We go king takes. In the resulting position, 4 minor pieces, and they have 3. Yeah, I think this is an error. Oh, because I'm going to have the knight here, the knight here, and these guys, and they're going to have lost both bishops. So let's check this out one more time. Rook takes, queen takes, knight takes this way. Sorry, that's confused. Rook takes, queen takes, knight takes, bishop takes. I can even take with the knight, and I've got 4 minor pieces. And they have, I mean, they got a rook, I guess. They got a rook for my 2 minor pieces. Notably, they can't go. Sorry, let's go like, they can't go rook takes. They can't go like this, thinking they can pick up here because I have this mate, sorry, on f7. So rook takes, queen takes, knight takes, bishop takes, knight takes. I have 4 minor pieces in a rook, and they have sorry, I basically have 2 minor pieces against their rook and pawn. Yeah, so let's go for this. This is such a weird game. Sorry, like, opponent played bishop e7 and then I had a mouse slip. What a weird game. Okay, so they take my queen. I think I want to take with the knight, just to keep castling possibilities. Well, look, castling is not. Maybe I don't want to take with the knight. Castling is not so important, given that the queens are off. So yeah, I think we'll take with the king. And it's materially equal. But yeah, the imbalance is I have 2 minor pieces against a rook and a knight, a rook and a pawn. So this turned out to be a really odd game. Okay, so they want to go d5, but they cannot do that. Okay, so first idea here is a fork, forking these two. And that looks pretty straightforwardly good. I don't see any particular issues with that. Just scanning for ways that black can mess up my thoughts here. Yeah, I don't see anything. Okay, let's go for it. I mean, white should have an advantage here. Again, 2 minor pieces against a rook and a pawn. It should be better for the two minor pieces, and now of course it looks like I'm about to win a pawn. It's even better, but I mean, it's all right. So okay, so the question is, do I want to take this pawn? Not with the knight though. Do I want to take this pawn or do I want to take this pawn? My instinct is to take this guy. But because if I take the other pawn, they can just kick my knight. I like the outpost for my knight to come back to. So yeah, let's not spend too much time on this. I don't see any particular ways that I could get too messed up doing this. So let's do that. Of course I'm threatening f7. I expect probably f6. f6, bishop e6 check doesn't seem to be doing a whole lot. Probably want to play like d3 or something next, just to give a bishop some play. Maybe d3, bishop to like e3, king to d2, rook to h1, that kind of setup. And my opponent's got a very awkward, uncoordinated position, but I mean, White is definitely doing better, but this is not over by any stretch. And okay, so they want to play rook g1, and let's go after the g2 pawn. But if I play bishop takes f7, there's no rook g1, but they have rook f1. So bishop takes, bishop, okay, bishop takes f7, rook f8, bishop e6 check, gaining a tempo, bishop e6 check, followed by knight f5. That looks pretty solid. Bishop takes f7, rook f1, bishop e6 check, followed by knight f5. I like it. Let's go for it. Okay, so there's rook f1, bishop e6, gaining a tempo. And now knight f5. If they take on f5, bishop takes f5. Or yeah, I can even take with the pawn and just cement my bishop there. Because if I take with my bishop, they do have moves like this, but I can always just do this. So they can't really undermine me too easily. I think I like that fact, arguing to take with the bishop. Of course, if I take with the pawn, I'm doubling my pawns, but I'm also getting a passed pawn. There's definitely an argument to take with the pawn. I bet you the engine says to take with the pawn. Engine generally just likes to pass pawns. Huh. Keep my bishop in a really active position. If I take with the pawn. Yeah, my inclination is definitely to take with the pawn, though. I don't know, it's so tough. Just to get the pass pawn. But I would be gaining a tempo on their pawn. I think probably this is the way to go. So let's do it. Just keep our pawn structure intact. I bet the engine says to take with the pawn there. It's probably a move that I shouldn't spend so much time on, though. I spent 2 minutes on that move. That's not good. I have to get rid of doing things like that. I mean, we can check in the analysis, but... Okay, so they're just offering to trade all their pieces. I'm up 2 points of material. But my pawn is vulnerable. So I could take... They take... I go here... And then here... And then bring my bishop in... And then bring my rook in. I mean, that seems straightforward enough. But I could also just take this pawn. But they take my pawn. Yeah, this is also tough. I probably want to just keep my bishop, I think. Probably keep my bishop. Let's do that. However, I could no. Let's get some developments. So what is the material imbalance here? I have seven pawns. 7 pawns. So I have 2 bishops and a pawn against a rook, it looks like. Okay, so they want to do this. My inclination is to try to restrict their knights. Maybe not necessary, though. Maybe I'll just get some development. Bishop d3. Bishop d3. Yeah, bishop d3. Let's do that. Maybe king e2. Rook over here. Don't want to be too fast in endgames. Even... I mean, just never want to be fast in endgames. 2 bishops and a pawn against a rook. Slowly improve the position. Don't make any major errors. This bishop e3 move protected this pawn, which is loose in some lines. I do have to watch with king e2. I want to make sure my knight has a retreat square. Whoops, that's not a retreat square for the knight. I want to make sure my knight has a retreat square in case they play this. But if they play this, I can just take it, I think. My bishop will be loose, but they have to move their knight somewhere. And I don't see an advantageous jump. So let's go for this. I do run into some tactical possibilities here, because they would also be threatening this with a fork. So I do have to be aware of this. That leads me to think that maybe this move is a good idea in some variations, or in some cases. But also this idea, bringing the rook here, going to try to get this, seems like a good idea as well. But again, with this idea of trying to be slow in endgames, g4, just trying to button down the hatches, you know, might be a decent idea. Now, what a weird start to this game. It would be really weird to analyze. Yeah, 5h4. Bishop e7 too, like on move 2 by black. I've never seen. I've played a number of Vienna games. I have never seen bishop e7. I haven't played like hundreds of Vienna games. I don't know. I've played a number though, and I have not seen that move. It's a really, really interesting move. Okay, so the idea here is just g3, solidifying the pawn. If the knight ever comes here, then it is restricted. I mean, it's still restricted if it goes to h5. And I don't want to play g4 because they would have 2 on g4 already. Luckily, this is less of a concern because the rook is no longer on my bishop. Yeah, I think just straightforwardly, let's just scan, make sure there are no issues with this. I don't think so. Let's just go like this. If they bring their knight in here, I'm probably just going to take the pawn because I don't see that knight is particularly bothersome here on g4. We all could stand to improve our endgame technique, so that's what this video is about. Get a decent position in the endgame, how to convert it, right? That's what we're trying to do here. Try to keep it together and try not to make any weird mistakes, which can definitely happen in the endgame. There are tactics in the endgame when you're not expecting it. Okay, so if they go for this, my first idea is just to play rook h1, just bring my rook into the game, apply pressure. Seems normal enough. Just scan again, just trying to remember to always double check my moves, make sure they make sense. I believe this does. Yeah, just applying pressure. And is there anything better though? That's the thing that I'm trying to get better at checking. Try not to get tunnel vision too much on a given move. I think that this is fine though, just in the interest of time. Alright, how can I apply pressure? Okay. So my idea here is to it could be a little annoying. Just go like this. If they go here, there's this. I do kind of like that actually. Gets their rook. out of there. Gets the rook off that file, I should say. And this guy keeps disconnecting. And it must be on a weird kind of cell phone connection. How can I get my knight more active, I think, is my question. Maybe I could take some space. Although, I don't know how much space I want to take, given that they have rooks. Yeah. Let's maybe do this. Although, yeah, let's maybe gain some space. Some ideas like b4. Just try to improve the position a little bit that way. Trying to watch the time for sure. Because this kind of position can take a lot of moves to win. And my opponent already has a time advantage. I'm already seeing also no, probably not. Maybe this one? Still probably not. Yeah, I probably want to bring my knight here and maybe sort of look for this kind of advance. Yeah, maybe this last move a4 was just shooting in the dark. I probably should have went knight d1. It's e3. Although if my knight does get on e3, I've got to watch my h6 bishop. But if they ever play this, I do have this. There's also ideas of going like this, and then bringing the knight over this way, supporting the same advance, and leaving the diagonal open for the bishop in case there's a need for a retreat. That's a good thing to be aware of. Although, of course, I have to be careful about when I would make this advance because this pawn is going to be loose in variations, certain variations. Yeah, which is why it's not so clear. I mean, maybe I want to bring my rook up here. So many ways to go ahead in this position, to go forward in the position. One thing I was sort of pushing at a while ago is I want to be careful. This is why I was originally hesitant of a4 as a move, because I want to be careful about how many lines I open for their rooks. Yeah, not let them get too much activity. It's kind of a certain needle I'm trying to thread here. make progress in the position, but don't do it in such a way that it will allow too much piece activity for black. Okay, this is an interesting kind of like waiting move. Seems like I'm not really sure what my knight is doing here that it's not already doing. I mean, outside of possibly supporting this advance, which leads me to believe I want to do this. So I'm going to do it just in the interest of time. Okay. Is it doing anything great for them? I mean, they established a central pawn. Kind of allows my knight to go in here and threaten this guy. So maybe they inadvertently give me a little bit of activity they weren't looking to give me. They don't want to take with their knight because they're hanging this pawn if they do that. Yeah, this bishop g7 idea. I'm gonna just jump right in with this. So they move their rook, but what does that do? It allows me to play this move. Can I take this guy? No. That looks decent. Let's go for this. So you go here. I have a fork. imagine we're going to see this. In which case, I think I might have to play back here. Now there, we're going to go for the fork. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that. Man disconnected again. Alright, so we should be able to take here next. I'm gonna say try this guy. We do have this with some pressure right through the diagonal. Yeah, either rook, this should work tactically. My man's being resilient, but as long as I don't make any weird errors, this should be good for white. But this is what these games are all about, right? It's all about conversion, and winning in one position it's tough, man. Winning in one position is a tough thing to do. I could have been a little bit more thorough with this whole fork idea and just confirmed that this worked, because I think I vaguely knew it worked, but I was not as thorough as I should have been. That is a teachable moment for sure. So I should have 2 pawns and 2 minor pieces. Yeah. Against a rook. Yeah, that's 8 points of material against with this passed pawn being the main player in the position. Yeah, that's basically going to be my strategy from here on out, is just to push this guy and just create as much pressure with that as I can. Okay, so I'm going to bump my knights. I can gain a tempo on their pawn. I can also check them. let's do this. Because they're going to get in tempo with this guy. I mean, they can also just gain a tempo with this move, but they have to move their king back to the back rank in order to do that. And of course, I can just take a pawn. Yeah. So we've sort of evened out in time here, which is nice. Yeah, my opponent's really putting up a nice fight, so good for them for that. Something that I could stand to do better. You get in obviously losing position just to keep grinding away to try to see if your opponent will make a mistake. I mean, I know I've personally been prone to make such mistakes, and I have to be careful that I don't talk myself into a distraction here and make a mistake in this kind of position. But yeah, it looks like my opponent is just going to push it and push it and push it. So good for them. So we're up a minute on the clock though, which is nice. My plan here is definitely just pushing the G-pawn whenever I get a chance. And sort of seeing what kind of counterplay we can create there. I don't know what would be a good move, best move for black in this position. I mean, the most forcing move is king f8, but again, they just lose a pawn. Bishop takes, or I know king f8, king c8, but they just lose a pawn. Bishop takes b6. So, yeah, against this one, my instinct is to just, well, I can just take a pawn too. Shouldn't be anything too terribly wrong with that. Yeah, this just loses a pawn. Just don't have any mouse slips or anything. Yeah, so even more winning for white. Again, it's just a matter of conversion. Just a matter of conversion. Now I have two outside pass pawns. The opponent just keeps giving me all their pawns. They're hoping I'll take so they can take and open up a line to my bishop. But we don't need to do that. We can just attack them. Or we can just take the bishop back. Yeah, maybe we just take the bishop back. Now my bishop is supporting potentially both these squares. Okay. Instinct is this one. They do have a check on e5, but that's not terribly concerning. And we should just be able to do this. Yeah, I can bring this pawn to a5, and if need be, put the bishop there, solidify it. Here, yeah, let's just go attack a pawn. Play this next, play here, and then just try to push these pawns. Okay, so they defend. Still, we can just do this. And yeah, it's just a matter of the A and the G pawn at this point. Okay, so they're saying you can't advance your A pawn. Alright, that's fine. You can advance the G pawn. Alright, so let's see what we've got. All right, so we can push the pawn, and that's fine. Sorry about that. We just had a glitch in the feed a little bit there. All right, so they're trying to stop us from advancing, which is totally understandable. I believe we can just do this and just keep going. Yeah, these pawns together with the support of the knight, the F and the G pawn should be able to be enough. Gain a tempo here should be good. All right. So we could go like this. They attack this one. Then we've got that. Yeah, that looks good to me. They attack the F pawn. We can push it, supported by the knight. And then we have that, and that much closer to where we want to go. Yeah, this is just overwhelming at this point. All right, so I think here, say I play this one, then we have this. Yeah, that should be good. I would expect resignation at any points. At any point, I mean, there's really nothing left for black here. What a weird game, though, like how it started at the end. We'll sort of check that out in a quick analysis here at the end. Is there a better way to take? Okay, so they finally resigned. Okay, so let's do a quick report, game report here. Let me see if I can adjust the screen here a little bit. It kind of changes when you go into the evaluation. All right, so, wow. Okay, so looks like, whoops. It looks like white had a 92.5% accuracy and black had 58.3. 5 inaccuracies. I had 0 mistakes, 0 blunders. Yeah, and this was like a one-sided affair for most of the way. It was just an exercise in conversion, though. So yeah, we just sort of checked through a couple things here. There's not a whole lot interesting. I think I mentioned most of the things I wanted to say in the analysis. Because again, if I just, well, I can't do it too easily without screwing up the video too much. But yeah, I mean, if until about this point, whoops, this point right here, like after this bishop takes move, white was like +4, and I essentially just kept that advantage the whole way. So I kept that advantage the whole way, and you know, was never really sort of gave anything up. It doesn't always happen. Like it's easy to blow an advantageous position, but yeah, luckily these tactics sort of worked out for me after this blunder here. After my weird move with h4. So yeah, the Vienna again. Computer recommends this move. I'm not sure why. Usually this is the most popular move. I do think it's strongest. Knight c6 is definitely a strong move as well, though. But yeah, bishop e7, just very odd. Yeah, so interestingly, computer says there, just to go d4, which is very, very very well. Yeah, it makes a whole lot of sense. Give me just one. So yeah, I mean d4 makes sense. Just trying to sort of open things up. It's not a move that crossed my mind for some reason. Not sure. Okay, so d3 again. I imagined they were going to do this, and then I had my weird mouse slip. So computer does say h3. The move I was trying to play is the best, but of course h4 just makes no sense, and the computer says it's an inaccuracy. So this is a blunder, and I believe I played the sequence of moves correct. It does say to take with the knight, but it says taking with the king is perfectly fine as well. So yeah, this was basically the game, and then after this it was just a matter of making sure to not make any mistakes. I mean, there were let's see, almost 40 moves after this, so a lot of opportunities to let me go back here. A lot of opportunities to make mistakes. And this one sequence I was going to go to that tactical sort of sequence a little bit later on that I thought I might have messed up, but maybe not. Let's see. So yeah, about right here, this is where, I played this kind of fast. I mentioned that I had this fork, and it worked out, but I quite honestly, I didn't confirm this enough, because whenever you have two bishops or two minor pieces stacked like this, you want to make sure that, you're just not going to end up losing a piece to a rook lining up against them. And luckily in this situation, I always had this bishop to come back to this diagonal. They had too many loose pieces on the diagonal. So, I was going to be able to do some kind of counterattack. So, as we had in the game, computer actually says to do this. Oh, okay, yeah, I guess that's fine as well. So if you go here, then the rook is just defending the bishop. So yeah, that works as well. But yeah, the move that I played, again, I'm just, if they're taking me, I'm just taking them. So that worked out. I'm lucky I didn't mess that sort of thing up, but it's that kind of tactic that I think is very easy to sort of mess up and go to sleep on in this kind of end game when you get a good position, but it's going to take many moves to win, and you get an opponent who's just being extra resilient and just hoping you'll make a mistake. You got to be careful not to blow things like that, because it's exactly that kind of thing. I've had so many games where I've had an advantage and I've just blown it because this kind of tactical sequence, I just played it too quickly and I missed that, opponent had, this ability to basically skewer a couple of my minor pieces or something like that. So yeah, an interesting game that, kind of resulted after this weird move bishop e7 and then my subsequent weird mouse slip here. But it was a good example of, like, your opponent makes an error, which came about here after this blunder. Sorry, as we can see with the computer, computer calls this move bishop takes h4 a blunder. It just wants them to play c6. A game here where I got like +4 or something and was fortunate enough to be able to take it all the way to the end. It doesn't always happen, for sure, but hopefully you guys got something out of that in terms of instructive value of you get a winning position, how do we convert it? Let me know what you think in the comments, and yeah, hope to come back with another one of these rapid games soon. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks.